Good morning, everyone. What is unhappiness? We are coming to you live via YouTube streaming, via Facebook streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this morning's live streaming. What is unhappiness? Is there any definition for unhappiness? Unhappiness is the incapability to understand what life is. When you are not able to understand what life is, how does it move, there is unhappiness. We use these words as hackneyed without understanding that I am unhappy, I am stressed. What is stress? Stress is improper use of your intelligence. You have been given intelligence. When you do not know how and when to use your intelligence, there is stress. And it is considered in the modern day terminology to use this word stress as if it is something great. Unhappiness is incapability to understand the way how does life move, and stress is improper use of your intelligence. Unhappiness is the lack of intelligence that creates. It is the lack of intelligence. When you lack intelligence, there is unhappiness. When you do not know how to use your intelligence properly, then there is stress. A person who is unhappy, that simply means he is incapable to use his or her intelligence. And now he is trying to save his ego by saying that he is unhappy. This is strange. Firstly, you are incapable and to use your intelligence, and now to save ego you say that I am unhappy. He is saying that grapes are sour. To be unhappy, no intelligence is needed. Everybody is capable of being unhappy, but happiness is very, very rare. It requires tremendous intelligence to understand the way life moves. How the duality moves. Happiness and sorrow. Two sides of the same coin, good and bad, right and wrong. You want to save head, but you do not like tail. It cannot happen. Head and tail, day and night, good and bad, right and wrong, all stay together. Either two stay together or none stays together. When two stay together, there is unhappiness because you do not know, understand the dialectics of life. The moment you understand it, you discard the coin and you do not have anything, neither happy nor unhappiness. This state is known as sambhav, equanimity. This is the essence, if I put it, of Bhagavad Gita. Once you have understood this particular sutra, equanimity, sitoshna samadukha, one who is equipoised amidst heat and cold, amidst the dualities of life, he doesn't need to read or remember the remaining 699 sutras of Bhagavad Gita. Just one. Using your intelligence to be equipoised, to attain to a state of equanimity, neither happiness remains nor sorrows remain, neither flowers remain nor the thorns remain. Flowers and thorns come and go, day and night come and go. Your intelligence is to need it, to use it intelligently. You can burn the candle at both ends. If you need some extra work, there are only certain hours available. If it is coming to the work, the office hours in the West is 8 to 4. If your work requires extra hours, you can come, and then out of that certain hours are spent in traffic. You can reach to the office early. You can see these traffic patterns in the morning, so leave early and reach there within short period of time, so the time that you spent in traffic will be available to you to finish the work. In the evening, why it is religiously that you have to leave the work 4 o'clock and reach home 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So you can spend an hour extra in the work, leave there 5 o'clock, and by 5:30 or 6 o'clock you are home. So extra time you are spending in order to do the work. You can burn the candle at both ends. You know how to intelligently use your time. There will be no stress. You understand the dialectics of life. Neither happiness remains nor sorrow remain, neither flowers nor thorns remain, both come and go. But there is something that remains there permanently and that never changes. When your focus moves from that which is changeable to that which does not change, you have attained to somehow or equanimity or equipoised. And once that had happened, you can discard the whole of Bhagavad Gita because you have known the essence. And people say that you are Hindu and you do not have Bhagavad Gita in your house. Yes, I have Bhagavad Gita in my house, but what is the your definition of house? A wall-structured house, or the innerness, your house for where the body lives, or the house where being lives? Being is formless, both within and without. Which house are you looking for? That which provides the space for your being that can read the unwritten. So Bhagavad Gita is not needed. Great talent is needed. Everyone is capable of being unhappy, but happiness is very, very rare. Great talent is needed. Not only intellect, intelligence too is needed. Intelligence is the capacity to use, to process the information, the opportunity that is given to you. Only rarely does a Buddha, a Krishna become happy. It is almost impossible to be happy. That's what has been told. As long as there is human life, you cannot be unhappy. You cannot be happy. This has been conditioned to you. And whenever it comes, you said, yes, that is the way the life is. Life means unhappiness. How can I be happy? As we continue the program, continue the streaming, there is rainfall. In the Caribbean islands where I live, from August to December is the rainy season. It is the rainy season. Every moment life presents a situation to be happy or unhappy. Happiness is your choice. To be happy or unhappy is your choice. Every moment life presents a situation to be happy or unhappy. Under all circumstances you choose to remain unhappy. You choose unhappiness because you have failed to understand life. You have failed to understand the dialectics of life, the duality of life, and to attain to equanimity amidst the duality. So let us try to understand what unhappiness is. Unhappiness is incapability to understand life. It is incapability to understand yourself. Incapability to understand yourself. Indeed, it is incapability to create a harmony between you and existence, between pair of opposites, between good and bad, right and wrong, day and night. It is incapability to create a harmony between you and existence. Unhappiness arises because of a discord between you and the existence, means you and life. Something is in conflict between you and the existence, and this inner conflict creates unhappiness. And when does happiness arise? Happiness arises when nothing is in conflict. There is no conflict, emotional or otherwise. Or we consider it a great devotion that you did not give me anything to eat, so I didn't eat. This is inner conflict. Unhappiness arises, and this is becoming self-torture. Happiness arises when there is no conflict of any kind, emotional or otherwise. There is harmony and you are together with existence as well. You are mature enough. It is your responsibility to take care of your physical body, understand the emotions and take care of those. When there is harmony, everything is flowing without any conflict, smooth and relaxed. Then there is happiness. Then you are happiness. Then you are happy. Happiness is possible only with great understanding, not otherwise. Underline this. Happiness is possible only with great understanding. Such understanding is like the peak of Himalayas, the Himalayan mountains. You are capable of being unhappy any moment. You do not have to make any effort. That is how the whole world is so unhappy. To be happy, you have to create such an understanding about you and the existence in which you exist. You are part of this existence. You are part of this and you exist in this. You are capable of being unhappy any moment. That is how the whole world is unhappy, and that's how we live. To be happy, you have to create such understanding about you and the existence in which you exist. Then suddenly everything falls in line in the right place. There is a deep accord and rhythm. And between your energy and the energy that surrounds you, a dance begins to happen. And you start moving in steps with existence, with life. You are dancing to the tunes of life happily. This is the beauty. Happiness is when you disappear, ego is no more. No more those statements come. Unhappiness is one when you are too much. You exist physically, emotionally. For unhappiness, your ego has to be there. For conflict, your ego has to be there. It gives you guidance. It gives you a feeling that there is something wrong. You are the accord. Your absence will be, you are the discord, disharmony. Your absence will be accord. Your absence will be harmony. Sometimes you get the fleeting glimpses of happiness. It happens when by some accident you are not there. All of a sudden, the happiness, the clouds of happiness shower on you. Look at nature. Looking at nature or looking at stars or holding the hands of your beloved or making love in certain moments, you are not there. If you are there, even then there will be no happiness. If you are making love to your beloved and it is really as you express it, a making, then there will be no happiness. You are making it. You are not letting it happen. Love cannot be made. You can be in it or not in it. But there is no way to make it. The English expression is ugly. To make love is absurd. How can you make it? If the maker is there, the doer is there, the technician goes on existing, and if you are following same technique from Masters and Johnson or Watson or some other source, you are not lost in it. Happiness will not happen. When you are no more, you are absent. You do not know where you are. You do not know where you are going. You do not know what you are doing. You are possessed by the existence, by the energy. The part does not exist separate from the energy, from the whole. Then there is an orgasmic experience. And that is what happiness is. An orgasmic experience that you are one with the existence. For happiness, you will need tremendous intelligence. Intellect you can get from the books. Intellect you can get from the universities. Intellect is transferable. Intellect is mechanical. Intellect is of the biocomputer you call mind. Intelligence is not of the mind. Intelligence is of no mind. What Zen people call no mind. Intelligence has nothing to do with information. It is the capability to process the information. It is not knowledge. It has only one element. And what is that element? That element is awareness. That element is awareness, and nothing else is needed for intelligence to work. If you are intelligent, then your whole life will be of happiness. Your life will move in a different dimension. What is why is intelligence needed? Indeed, intelligence is needed because life in itself is meaningless. Meaning is not something sitting there and you have just to reach and grasp it. You have to create meaning in life. You have to create meaning in life. People constantly inquire what is the meaning of life, as if life has any meaning at all. Life has no meaning, and that is the beauty of life, that it has no meaning. That is why it is freedom. You are free to create your own meaning. I am free to create my own meaning. If life has a meaning, then we will all be just slaves, and that meaning will not be worth anything. Life gives tremendous opportunity to you to create your own meaning. You create your own meaning and live it. Let others create their own meaning and live it. And that is the essence of freedom. Life is freedom. It does not impose any meaning on you. It simply gives you an opportunity to create your own meaning. The meaning has to be created. It is not like a thing that you can uncover. Instead, you will have to become your meaning. You will have to give a rebirth to yourself. This requires tremendous intelligence. Tremendous intelligence. Only when you feel meaning in your life, only when you feel meaning in life, you will be happy, not before. Life has no meaning in itself. You have to bring meaning into it. Life is just essential ingredients. You have to create your meaning out of it. You have to create your own God. Not the God that is Islamic God, the Christian God, or a Hindu God. No. God is not there waiting for you. You have to create it within your heart, within your innermost core of the being. Only then you will be happy. You have to establish that godliness deep within you. A stone goes once to a temple and becomes a statue to be venerated, to be worshipped. Man goes to the temple, to the religious place each day, and sometimes more than once, but he still remains stony. His heart remains stony. It does not transform, whereas he has the capacity to transform. You need a Michelangelo to convert the stone into a venerated figure. Life has no meaning itself. You have to bring meaning into it. Life is just essential ingredients. You have to create meaning out of it. You have to create your God. To create meaning, you have to be creator. God is creator. So you want to worship that creator, or you want to be creator on your own, right? Painters paint and thus create paintings. Poets write and create poetry. They are created in their own way. Dancers create dance, however, these are just fragments. A religious person creates himself. Indeed, the religious person is the greatest artist, greatest creator. All other artists are just finding substitutes, and one day or the other they will become frustrated writing the poems, painting, whatsoever. You have written many poems, then one day you realize what is the point. Why go on writing? You have painted and one day suddenly you realize what is the point? For whom all these paintings are created? Because you want to gain happiness out of it. One day you will die and all this will be left and will disappear. So what is the point? All such creation, in all such creations, the day you have created your soul or created yourself, journey comes to an end. This is what enlightenment is. You have created yourself. You have created the inner space. The experience of immortality is happiness. Unless you feel a point of immortality in whatsoever you are doing, you cannot be happy. The flowers come and go, the thorns come and go. So what is that? There is something that never comes and never goes. That is eternal. That is immortality. Certainly that point of immortality, when it is felt, only when you create immortality within yourself. Gurdjieff was right when he used to say that man is not born with a soul. All other religions say that man is born with soul. Gurdjieff is the only one who said man is not born born with soul. He has to create it. He has to give birth to it. Whatsoever Gurdjieff is saying is tremendously significant. Man is not born with a soul. And unless you create it, you will not have any soul. You will remain empty and you will die empty. You have to create it. For this, intelligence is needed. Great intelligence is needed. To be intelligent is arduous. It is not something that you can grasp from this religious book or that, or from this philosopher or that thinker. It needs tremendous effort on your part. You have to destroy all that is rubbish within you, all that you have been conditioned into it, all that you have gathered. You will have to create almost a fire of consciousness so that what is useless is burned and only that which is pure gold is saved. Jesus rightly says, when Nicodemus asked, who can enter the kingdom of your Father? One who is childlike. He did not say one who is childish. One who is childlike means no conditioning. A child is born without conditioning, but he is conditioned into life and has become you. That child has to be reborn in you. That innocence has to be reborn in you. The moment that innocence is born in you, there is a glow on your face. The face looks tranquil. You will have to create almost a fire of consciousness so that whatever is useless is burned and only pure gold is saved. Very few people are ready to go through that hardship. To create intelligence requires a great effort. To gather intellect, no effort is needed. Computer, your hardware is intellect. This is the discipline which creates intelligence. People want shortcuts. However, man always tries to save ego. It is insanity to say happiness is not being smart enough to know what to worry about. Does this mean that to be happy one has to be ignorant and stupid? Then a Buddha is stupid. So is Jesus. So Jesus too is stupid. And people who are in madhouse are the only intelligent people in the world. I have heard. A man went to see his psychiatrist about his problems. He explained to the psychiatrist that every night he was visited by a 10-foot monster with 2 heads, and he was suffering tremendously. He cannot sleep whole night. He was becoming more and more miserable, and any day he could collapse. He had even thought of committing suicide. Well, I think I might be able to cure you, responded the psychiatrist. But I am afraid it will be a lengthy process and it will cost you about $3,000. $3,000, murmured the man. Forget it then. I will just go home and make friends with the monster. I will just go home and make friends with the monster. This is how. That is how to be intelligent. It's so difficult and it costs so much. You have to put much at stake. Whatsoever you have, it is a cross. In fact, you have to die to be intelligent. Die psychologically. Only when you are reborn you will be intelligent. One who is childlike can enter the kingdom of my Father. Not before. And you have to carry the cross on your own shoulders. Nobody else can carry it for you. Nobody else can carry the cross for you. Many times you will stumble on the road. Many times you will be so tired and exhausted that you will need to take a rest. Many times you will think that people who have never desired intelligence, awareness, are blessed. What have I chosen? Many times doubt and suspicion will arise in your mind. You will wonder, is there any goal? Or am I simply carrying a cross and wasting my life? Many times you will like to go back to the world, and many temptations will be there. But if you can stick to it and remain on the path against all odds, one day certainly intelligence will flower. Certainly intelligence will flower in you. Intelligence is almost like a seed. The seed cannot know what is going to happen next moment. The seed has never known the flower, and it will never know the flower. And seed cannot even believe that it has the potentiality to become a beautiful flower. Long is the journey. And it is always safer not to go on that journey because unknown is the path. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing can be guaranteed either. 1001 are the hazards of the journey. So many are the pitfalls. So many are the pitfalls, and the seed is secure, hidden inside the heart core. But the seed tries. It makes an effort. One day it drops the hard shell. It drops its ego. The hard shell is ego. One day it drops the hard shell, which is its security. It starts moving. Immediately the fight starts. They struggle with the soil, the stones and the rocks begin. And the seed was very hard, and the sprout will be very tender, soft, surrounded by many dangers, but yet still it tries. There was no danger for the seed. The seed could have survived for long, but for sprouts, many are dangers. Still the sprout starts the journey towards the unknown, towards the sun, towards the source of light, not knowing where and why. It has an inherent tendency to move towards light. Great indeed is the cross to be carried, but a dream possesses the seed, and seed moves on. And there is much competition. Many trees are there, other plants too, but he has to cross all of them, because only then it will reach the sun and the open sky will be available. And then no one knows. But one day it flowers, and it has happened. The seed breaks open itself, sheds its outer hard shell, continues its journey of tenderness. It can be destroyed any moment. It is surrounded by tall trees and other plants, but its intention, its ultimate desire is to reach the sun, to reach the light that is there in the horizon. And then no one knows what will happen. And one day it flowers, and it happens. The same is the path for you. It is arduous, much courage will be needed. It is said, Albert Schweitzer, that he was playing host to several European visitors at the hospital in French Equatorial Africa. This heat is unbearable, one of the visitors moaned. What is the temperature? I do not know, said Albert. I do not have a thermometer here. No thermometer? No, replied the doctor. If I knew how hot it was, I don't think I would be able to endure it either. People remain unintelligent because if you start understanding, it will be almost impossible to endure the life that you are living. You are living in hell. How can you send a man to heaven who cannot even imagine it and who has never tasted it? How can you send a man to heaven who has not created it in his own soul? He defeated God. Hell is not possible because he has lived there, and there is no other hell. Heaven is not possible unless you create it. Unless you carry it within yourself, you cannot find it anywhere. It is mentioned in all the religious books of the world that saints go to heaven. But it is half a statement. They go to heaven because they live in heaven. They go to heaven because they have created their heaven. In fact, to be in heaven, you will have to create the heaven within you. Certainly there is no other way. Intelligence implies you create your own heaven and thus your own happiness. Otherwise there is none. If you create it, you have it. It is just like breathing. If you breathe, you are alive. If you do not breathe, you are not alive. If you create happiness, you are happy. If you do not create, you cannot be happy. You will be unhappy. Unhappiness needs no creativity on your part. Unhappiness is a negative state. No negative state needs to be created when you leave the food outside, exposed to heat. Where do the bacteria that consume the food appear from? It comes from within. The negative current comes from the body of the electrical, where the electrical is. The positive current is brought in. Happiness is not negative, it is a positive state. It has to be created, it has to be brought in. Absence can be there, but presence has to be created. Intelligence implies you create your own happiness. And when you have created, you live in it. You live in harmony. Flowers come and go, day and night come and go. But there is something that never changes. The substratum that gives rise to the flower and gives rise to the thorns, that gives rise to day and to night. When you move from the known to the unknown and unknowable, you have attained to equanimity. And happiness is the fragrance of inner harmony and equanimity. Happiness is the fragrance of harmony within and equanimity amidst the dualities. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.